Howdy folks, I'm Dave and I'm a wood turner. Welcome to the channel. It's another Wood Turning Wednesday. Can't wait. I started, I cut a log in half yesterday and made a display piece out of it. And by that I mean a piece that I could use to hold other pieces. It's just a nice little display stand. And I think I'm going to do the same thing with the other half. So, I want to get started, and let's tilt the camera down. Put a little bit more there. That's probably about right. So the first thing I want to do is I want to start off on a balance point, and that's to minimize vibration on the lathe and to minimize vibration on the piece, so that I get cleaner cuts and a better surface left behind by the tools. Of course, I have sharp tools and I keep them sharp. So what we have here, this is pretty close, really close to being on the balance point for the piece. Let's see, actually I think I want to, no, okay, so I want to make a natural edge. Some of this bark I think will come off now, if I can get it. If not, it'll come off as I'm turning. Myself, I think I'll do my best to stay out of the line of fire. I'm going to get rid of the stuff that's just going to fly off, easily on its own. The rest of it looks like it's attached fairly well, so we'll just have it, it'll just be coming off as I turn. There's a bit. Oh, there's a bit. Now, if it was not firmly attached like this, the bark was a little bit looser, I'd just take a chisel and pry all the bark off, but I'm not going to do that with this piece. So we're on the balance point. I'm now between centers. I want to make sure I'm secure, which I am not. Alright, that should do. Make sure it all clears on rotation there before I start up. So I'm already on the balance point. I don't expect a lot of vibration at a lower speed, but I do want to bring the lathe speed up as much as I can without creating, without adding to the vibration, because all the sides I'm cutting a lot of air, especially on the long sides, and this particular piece will be maybe not the full length of this log half, but really close, and only as wide, so it'll be longer than it is wide, and it'll be a shallow piece here. So I'm all set here, everything clears, so let's get started. So we'll start off slow. I want to bring the lathe speed up. If I start adding to the vibration, I'll slow it down a little bit. Changing the speed changes the harmonics of the vibration sometimes, so you can actually dampen vibration by raising or lower the speed. I think that's a good clip right there. Somewhere between 600 and 800 RPM. Now I can move my tool rest in. I don't mind working a little bit off the tool rest, depending on what I'm working on and the tool. If it's a larger tool like this 5/8 bowl gouge, then I can hang off a little bit further because there's more mass to the tool. But I do try to keep my tool rest in a good location so I can get to wherever it is that I feel like I need to turn away. And so I always start off with my anchor somewhere on my body and on the tool rest. Set my bevel to the direction I want it to cut, so that's my anchor and my bevel with the flute open about 45 degrees, and I start cutting away. So that's the ABCs of cutting, ABCs of turning, I guess. So I think, let's see, I want to try to catch it at the widest point, so it's going to be somewhere in here. That all clears. Just taking a look, seeing if that's where I want the side handles to be, or, well, let's take a little bit more off the off the log here. That's going to clear, that's going to clear. Now I'm starting to zero in on the shape I'm looking for, and it is an S shape that I want on the side profile, and I'm pretty close to where I can set myself up for a tenon for a chuck. It's very pretty. The last piece, the other half of this had a lot of curl to it, so hopefully this one does too. That is a wider point right there, so yeah, I'll go with that one. So I suppose this and the ends are going to be round. On the little platter I made yesterday, the ends were square. Okay, just need to, let's see, let's take this down some. Kind of looking at this, trying to figure out if that's where, if I keep that as my foot, and then possibly do an expansion into it. I think I may do that. Let's refine the outside some more. Starting to look pretty good. That's a lot closer. That is my dude. So I can set up for an expansion into this bit here that's going to actually be the foot. I don't know if that will actually fit in there this time. Nope. So just using a negative rake scraper to clean up that curve right there. Very, very light touch. You want to see. So I've got the tool handle up. The tool is down below center. I'm presenting just the burr on this negative rake scraper to the piece. Let's see, I think that's a good size foot, so I'm going to go ahead and finish that off. I think, let's see, I think I will need, so I need to make a hollow in here so that I can get the chuck jaws in and expand out. Hello. Move too soon. Caught that right there, but that's okay because that's coming off. So moved it a little too soon. Okay, I need to grab a skew. Or actually, that'll work. I will use another negative rake scraper to get that square shoulder. Which I will then turn into a dovetail so my jaws can expand into it. I'm leaving myself 3/8 thickness in wood here. Is that going to clear? And that's going to be alright. Okay. So that the jaws have something to press against and not blow out, hopefully. That should limit how much sanding I have to do on the bottom. Okay, set it up for dovetail jaws. You know, this needs to come down some. There we go. Okay, and then I'll grab my 1/4" skew. All set for dovetail hole. Now I can do a little bit of sanding, which I'm going to do without muting. I'm going to run just a friction drive on my Grex sander. Let's move this guy aside. This is 220. Here we are. So I'm going to slow the lathe down. I do have to say that it is nice to have a quieter lathe since I put the new bearings in. forgetting something important here. Need a filter mask on. So that looks all right. I guess I am going to run a little bit of air so I can get up in there. I do not have, well, I don't even think around. Yeah, we'll just take care of it. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and mute the main audio. And I will unmute when I'm done doing the sanding. Please enjoy the music and the video. Oh, wow. Yeah, you know, I'm pretty sure I muted that, but okay. So that is the bottom done. There's a lot of curl in here, so it's very, very similar to the last piece I turned last night, which is nice. You can sometimes have curl just in part of the tree. In this case, it looks, at least on this part of the tree anyway, the curl goes most of the way through, which is nice. Granted, this is a display stand and not for sale or anything like that, but I still want it to look nice. Should still look nice. Yeah, I think you probably see just all that curl going all through the wood on camera there. That's really nice. Alright, so I'm going to go into expansion mode here. And I'm also going to bring up the tailstock until I get all this mass off the piece. So just remember, when you use an expansion hold, you want to have and it depends on the wood how thick you want that wall or whatever you're expanding into to be, to help eliminate that splitting open, because it's constant outward pressure that's holding it in there, as opposed to a compression hold. It can definitely split apart softer or weaker woods, or if there's a crack or what have you. But I'm also, like I say, bringing up the tailstock for extra support until I can get rid of this mass. And it looks like I'm going to need to grab my longer tool rest. Get all the way down into there. Probably close. Let's see. And a little high. Let's try that. And actually, I need to bring it out this way. A little too low. So everything should still be balanced. Make sure everything clears here. And start getting rid of the material that doesn't belong. Shut came loose a little bit from the headstock spindle. Alright, that's probably a good enough speed for right now. Okay. Keep working that away. All right, looks like I am really close to getting rid of the tailstock. I think I'll take it down in a little bit more. So I'm only cutting, as I say it over and over again, only as fast as the tool can cut, and I'm only pulling with my pinky and ring finger. That's the only pressure I got. Okay, a lot of that mass is gone, so I'm going to get rid of the tailstock, cut this guy off. Make sure I have enough room for my handle here. Still wet. I like turning green wood, man. You can pull off some really nice heavy shavings if you've a mind to. All right, let's get rid of this guy right there. And readjust. Now I know that this is going to be a little thin. I'm not sure exactly how thin yet, but I do know that I want to work down in stages because I'm going to start getting, if I'm not already, not quite, this is maple, getting some vibration by the wings flexing on this natural edge piece. Hey, there we go. Let's take that off now. How about this guy? Not yet. Maybe some more. Firmly attached. So let's keep going. I think I've got that edge done. Let's see, I think maybe not. I think I'll leave it at that thickness. We'll see. We'll see. So I'm going to eyeball this. I'm not going to use calipers or anything. One moment, my handle here keeps coming loose, but that looks pretty good. Yeah, it looks like I've got that angle just right. Sometimes I get really fine sawdust in the threads here, and it doesn't allow it to screw down all the way, but that doesn't look like that's the case right now. So I may just not have had it tight enough. About time to change this guy. Yeah, let's go for it. Nope, not that one. Where did you go? That is spindle gouge. Oh, I see. Fell down. Okay, so now I can get rid of this mass here because it's not supporting anything on the outside. And start working my way into the bowl. this light over. Oh, actually, not that one. I'll turn this light on over here. Just because the shadow of this curve is kind of getting me in the dim light. Alright, that looks really close. So now I can get rid of all this stuff. Let's just tweak this just a little bit more. Well, yeah, just a little bit more. There we go. That's more even. So what I'm doing is I'm looking down here as the ghost goes by, and I'm able to see this outside edge as I cut it. I don't need to stand right here and see it. I can kind of look at an angle looking down. That way I'm out of the line of fire for the entire piece. So the tool is pretty much just feeding itself. It's just my hip that is actually pushing the tool in. It doesn't take much. You have your ABC set right, then your body mechanics, your body language, English, whatever you want to call it, will move the tool for you. And it's a more ergonomic way of turning, less damaging to the body, less stressful to the body, and you can get there with practice. I do tell people, if you're not comfortable doing something, you know, don't do it. Give yourself time to practice. Don't just jump into something. Keep your feet wet, but don't just run into something blindly. If you're not comfortable with it, back off a little bit. Maybe take a smaller cut, or use a heavier tool or a lighter tool, whatever it is. Plus, one of the things that I really like to share with people is that if you start off with a bad cut, it's not going to get any better. The best course of action is to go back and start the cut over and get everything set so you have a smooth progression through the timber. If you start off with a bad cut, it's only going to get worse, and more vibration and lots of tear out and stuff. So take your time. Wood turning is mostly finesse. With enough practice, you can get there. Okay, so I can see through the shadow that I've got an fairly even thickness right here. Not right at this point, but I'm not trying to go down that far yet. Now I can work it to that final thickness. Okay, now it'll come off. Cool. There we go. Rather come off now than come flying at me. Okay, so that's fairly even right through there. Cool. All right. And how's my edge here? You know, I think I will go ahead and swap to a sharp tool now. I like to have several of these set up and ready to go so I don't have to keep going back and forth to the grinder. My grinder used to be set up right behind me, but I have since changed my shop. And now the grinder is in front of me on the other side of the lathe. So I sharpen. Basically, I've got 5 bowl gouges ready to go. And I do that when I'm traveling too, so that when I'm doing demos or teaching or whatever, that I don't have to keep going to the grinder for my tools. I don't have any trouble going to the grinder for students' tools to help them learn how to grind the tool and all that. But I don't want to waste the time that I'm working with by having to do that if I'm teaching or demonstrating. And not only that, very oftentimes that there isn't a grinder available. Okay, I just need to pick up a tiny bit of that cut and I can finish that last little bit there. There we go. Very cool. Now I can work on this. I can get rid of this. Love all these huge shavings I can pull off with green wood. With seasoned wood, I'm not necessarily taking these big of a cuts, really hogging stuff off. But with the green wood, it's a little bit nicer experience because green wood's easier to turn and it just wants to peel away. Okay, so let me set up my tool rest here. Make sure, whoops, that's not going to clear. Going to clear here. Clear there. All right. So again, I'm looking through the ghosting, watching my wall thickness as I go. Got my anchor set. My bevel's pointed in the direction of travel that I want it to go. Get the cut started and I'm off to the races. I'm out of the cut there. I just backed off, went back, picked it up. And this should be the final cut. Be the final cut plus one. Yep, I just need to take a little bit more off there. I kind of missed my mark. There we are. All I have left now is just the sanding. It feels good. I want to take it further down. How much flexing am I getting? A little bit, not much. Okay, that is a good thing. So let's see. Maybe. Maybe with this negative reg scraper I can ignore the flexing of the wood. Because I'm only contacting the burr on this guy. Now let's take this out of the... Whoop, that's not going to work, right? We need to... There we are. Make sure I clear the banjo. Bring this up a little bit. Care of a lot of it. I'm getting a little bit too much flexion to go really too much further. I think I'm going to take my steel and go ahead. I could put a new burr on this, but I think what I'm going to do is strike it with my steel. And that should give me a good burr. Oh, I guess you can't see that in the camera. So I'm just going 90 degrees and then slightly over, so I don't know, maybe 85 degrees to the tool. Just a guess. And that did pull up a burr. it's working very nicely, actually. Just about done with it, and I will be able to go on to sanding. That's where it's at. Okay, that about did it for that. Yeah, very nice. A nice burr there. Made a little too much contact there, yeah, but that cleaned up good, so we're all set. All right, so now I can sand. And I'm not really going to sand. I'm going to sand the inside part with the lathe running, but not these wings. So I will mute again. Hopefully it stays muted, and run the air compressor and the sander. Let's go ahead and remind people proper way to use a scraper. You don't want it at 90 degrees to the piece perpendicular. You want it less than 90 degrees, which means that the handle will have to come up so that that angle between the tool and your piece is less than 90 degrees. 90 degrees or over, it's just not tenable. It doesn't work. And you can get a lot of tear out, but you need to have it less than 90 degrees, and you can do shear cuts by rotating the handle up off to the side too as well to get shear cuts that way. But I'm going to mute now and run the sander. I will be back. Let me grab my mask. Alright, back with audio. That's off. Okay, so we're done sanding. Now I just need to flip the thing around and finish off the bottom, which shouldn't take much. Alright, key. Yeah, there's just it's just filled with lovely curl all throughout it. That's very nice. Alright, let's get rid of this guy. Well, maybe. Hold on a second. This is a wider. How about... go with that guy. If it will fit in my chuck this way. Nope. So not that guy. Ah, here we go. We can make one out of this guy. Yeah, that'll be a good size. So I'm just going to make a friction drive here. I'm going to shape this really quick. And turn it into the wood block I need for my friction drive. Okay, I think that was about it. Let's see. Too low. So I want to make this a little concave surface and then round the edges just like it would be for a glue block. Still too low. And actually, I don't need this long guy anymore. So actually, I'll just take him away. And bring out this feller. That'll work. This way I won't have any sharp corners digging into my maple bowl there. Let's see, I don't need it to have it. Okay, so I need to make it a little bit more concave. It doesn't need to be deep. Just enough that it's the outer ridge, the outer rim that sits square in the bottom of the bowl here. I think that's smooth enough. So that's about a 1/16 of an inch down in. It doesn't have to be that, a whole lot. just enough to make sure that the outer ring or rim sits right in the bottom here. All right, leather and lace. It's kind of funny actually. Almost looks like lace, sort of. Shelf liner. And fortunately, I still have a center point here. Actually, I don't need to do much to that at all. Let's just see. I may not need to do anything. So with a friction drive like this, I don't want to be able to, with reasonable pressure, not like super force, but reasonable pressure, I don't want to be able to move the bowl like that. But I don't want it so much that the wood here is pressing into the bottom and leaving an impression. So it's kind of a balancing act. Not quite right, is it? No. Well, that helped. Honestly, I could just sand all that out and it not be an issue. How close am I here? You know, I'm close enough to run a little bit of abrasive on this inside corner and knock it down. Like that. Maybe a little bit more. Yeah. And then I can just sand the rest of that nub off, and I don't even have to worry about trying to center it. That is a bonus. But normally, if I had more mass to remove, then I would use a bowl gouge or spindle gouge, whatever, remove all that mass, get down to whatever tenon size I want to leave behind to remove either with a grinder or a sander. A saw, whatever the case may be. So we can get rid of this guy. But now it's ready for the next time. I do not need this guy. Or do I? Because this might be... the right size to hold on to this guy, which I want to turn it into a box next. Tilt it some. So I'll figure that out. So yeah, I got to leave that there. Alright, let's grab... something a little softer than the ways of the lathe. Okay, looks like I'm going to mute again. Sorry, folks. Just run the sander. Let me turn the compressor back on. It shouldn't peek over yet. The pressure gauge is not registered that it's getting low yet. And I'll mute. I'll be back very shortly. Go back to unmute. So there we have. Yeah, cool, man. So, you know, a finished piece in an hour. Actually, a little bit less. Completely finished. It's ready for finish right now. Everything's sanded, done. That's awesome. All right, and it's got some got some flame in it. It's definitely got curl. It's running perpendicular to the growth of the tree, which is this way. It's got some nice flame in it. There was a branch in there that never made it out of the tree apparently, but still leaving a very nice pattern. And I think that once that has finish on it, very stable after it's dry, it's still green, it will be perfect for a display stand for some items that I want to arrange in a particular way. So very, very cool. All right, moving on. Let me put this inside. I will be right back. So just to show them side by side, and almost even, no, that's the right orientation that way. Got that same. So I got my two display stands set, just need to let them dry. I think they're going to look really, really nice once that finish is put on and it's buffed out. I think that curl will really, really pop. And I'm hoping that it does do some puckering, as curl likes to do, so it'll actually have a little texture too. That'd be pretty nice. All right, moving on. Okay, so I found this piece of birch crotchwood. It's definitely got flame all the way around it, and I thought, how cool would that look as a box? So I'm going to let's see, be a small, that'd be all right. So I'm going to part off a little bit to get the lid for it. And this will be the handle material, this cocobolo. Trying to find something that would accentuate this really lovely orange and red and tan, just all these swirls and feathers, man. I think this will be a gorgeous little box. And I want to try something that I saw someone doing. We'll get to that in a minute. Huh, all right. Bring the tool rest up a bit. Make sure there's no burr on this dude. I should just be a brand new edge. I don't feel a burr. That's mighty smooth. So the thing I wanted to try, well, let's mark off for the lid first. Let's get that out of the way. I think that is a tad high there, Dave. All right, so let's see. Alright, so when using a spindle gouge, most efficiently I have found to use it, to have your tool rest set where, and this is actually, well, you know, that'll do. I'm just, I don't know, maybe 3-4 mil low on the tool rest from center. And what I want to do is have my end where my cut is ending to be at center and the flute in the right position and all that. So I set myself up to the end. This will be my end cut, or the end of my cut. And in order to help me remember where that's at, I put my thumb right on top of the tool there and leave it there. Now, the human body likes to find its neutral positions, and this right here is a neutral position for me. I will set myself up into an uncomfortable position, and then, and that's how I'll start the cut. So I have to rotate my hand down because I need the cut to start right up in towards the top of the tip here on the tool. As I come around the corner and get that rounded edge. And actually that's not going to be my final edge, but I want to get this surface and this surface done before I part it off in case I have issues there. I don't believe I will, but I'm going to keep the lid rather flat, and then this will be where my handle sits, but I have determined that that is where I want my cut to end. I will be here. So I rotate my hand down. I have to drop the tool handle to get that part of the tool closer to being in contact with the spinning material. I'm only going to push with my thumb. That's the only pressure it's going to take. Once I get, this is my this is my anchor, and also the tool itself, if I can get that in camera, is resting right there. I'm not holding it tight. I need it to be able to move up and down. So it is right against my body. So let me get myself set again here. And the reason that I need it anchored but be able to move is that as I come around, I want to create that curve. I have to lift the handle. And that allows the tool to curve around this way, and as you can see, all I'm doing is raising the tool straight up. The tool handle's coming straight up my body, and my hand is also naturally wanting to come back to its neutral position, which is my end cut. So I'm going to be in my most comfortable position when I'm at the end. So I get myself set, it's rotating, get myself set, I've got my anchor here, bevel set, ready to go. I'll move up, pushing with my thumb pressure only to bring it up, and as I do, I will raise my hand straight up and it will naturally come into the right position. Just like that. Now, on this guy, there's my end point. I've got to come around, start right up at the tip, start that one over again. And just raise the handle again. So I need to create a slight concave surface for my handle base to sit on so that everything centers nicely. Let's check that with a straight edge. It doesn't have to be super huge. It's not even a bevel yet. I think I want that a little bit bigger, so I'm going to take this off. If you watch my hand, you see that every time as I lift it straight up, it wants to go right into the neutral position. I think that looks good. So it all has to be timed and worked out. You're pushing only as fast as you're raising the tool, only as fast as you're going across the surface of whatever material it is you got. Alright, so now I do need to make this a little concave. Is it? Hey, it is. Step it right out here. Find my center point because I do need to drill for the tenon. A little bit wider than that. Whoops. Alright, now I need to mark off where I want my lid to come off of here, which means I'm also going to need a parting tool. So it doesn't need to be a very thick lid. Yeah, I think that'll be about, well, heck. Yeah, I think it'll be okay. I do need to go to it a little bit to be able to get a hold on the inside with my pin jaws. So maybe a little bit more. Now I want to part this off, but I want to angle my parting tool so it goes a little bit up this way and kind of makes a little concave spot. It doesn't have to be really super pronounced. So I'll get this guy started first. Oh man, this bird's just peeling away really nicely. Very, very nice. I don't usually part things all the way off. I usually cut them, but since I have to cut into the inside of the lid, I'm going to go ahead and just take it off with the parting tool. Leaves me a little nub, but that's going to go away. Now I want to give this an angle, but I want to try something first. I think I can do this. I gotta see that. Anyway, I saw what was it on Instagram? I saw a fella shear scraping with a skew, shear scraping a bowl with a skew. So I want to give that a shot. Let's see. I think maybe it would be. That way. How does that look? I'm curious. Huh, it is fairly smooth. I'll be dogged. I never really thought of using a skew for that. Cool. I think that would take some more, definitely take some practice, so I think I might have something new to practice on. I mean, it's pulling the shavings off. Yeah, wow. All right, that's fairly smooth. I'm digging that. That's cool. Far out. All right. I will be doing that again in the future. So I like to have a little taper on the box. I'm kind of borrowing that idea from the Greeks and their columns. Their columns, if you look at the columns, they're not perfectly straight up and down. They're tapered. And it's because of the way the eye sees things. They're a little bit thinner at the top, and they still look straight. And with this, I'll have it a little bit thinner at the bottom, but still, and you'll see that hint of shape, but it will still look fairly straight. I like that, the way that that looks. Just a slight taper. Oh boy, howdy, is that gorgeous. Wow. That is nice. Oh, I've got to see this. So we're going to see this together. I've got to put some, put a little bit of polish on that. I could use water, but I don't want to wait for it to dry again. Let's just put a little bit on there and see how that looks. I bet that's going to pop something really nicely. Oh yeah, that sure is pretty. Very cool. All right, I need to finish this off, but before I do that, no, let's see. Thinkity think, think, think. Thinkity think, think, think. Ah, yes. I want to give it a little bit of a tilt so that one side of the rim for the box is higher than the other, preferably in the back. Oh, so I should look at the design here and see what I want in the back. Wow, that's all. So yeah, right there. So that will be what? That will be higher. The curl will show. Yeah, I'll put this bit in the back. So we'll raise that up some. Now let's see how much that actually is. Almost a quarter of an inch. Whoops. That works. And then I'll cut it off straight, which means this rim will now be lower. Make sure everything's going to clear. So I'm not taking big cuts with this, sure you can see that, and that's partially because, well, I mean it's crosswood, so the grain goes every which way, but it's also off center in the chuck. So I don't want to peel it out of the chuck jaws by taking too large of a cut and getting a catch, or you know, too much wood coming off in the tool, which would yank it out of the chuck. Okay, so I had it backwards, and that's all right. So that'll be the front then. Now I'm going to set it back into whatever was centered. See if that's it. Almost. Alright. So I got to monkey a little bit. get it running true again. Need to loosen up the chuck a tiny bit. And now I can create the lip for the lid and hollow out the box. Then I will be able to turn it around, put it on my pin jaws, finish the bottom. No sharp edges. Okay, so that wants to be cut that way. I may have, well, when I get this turned around, I will take a cut this direction and see, because it did raise up a little bit in this where the two feathers meet. So that'll be the center front, and then, hey, that actually works out nicely, because then that will be the lid, the handle for the lid. Yeah, that works out. Very cool. Or I could sand that. All right, so let's hollow it out. Oh, hey, I've got my, yeah. I have reacquired my Jacob chuck. I found it. Right. So I can use that dude. I guess it doesn't really matter. You know what? No, I won't. I'll just do it with hand tools. That's just silly. It's a very small box. And do this pretty quickly by hand. There we go. I think that'll be center. While I'm at it, I might as well go ahead and grab my box scraper. Should be all right. Let's take a look at this guy. Man, that's just all burly in there. That is a really nice looking piece of timber. See if that's low enough for the front. Not quite. I think I want the lid to sit just a little proud of this shelf. So I need to take it down just a little bit more. I think maybe just a little bit more. That should do, I think. Get rid of that sharp edge. Alright, finish hollowing this dude out. Oopsie daisy. All clear is okay. See if I can give you a little bit of the over the shoulder, not back of the shoulder, but over the shoulder view here. Hopefully not back at the head view. Go back to overhead. As far in as that's going to get, yeah? Okay. Let's see, my depth is right there. I could go deeper. So that depth is, well, I can go deeper than that. Yep. Hey, we have this, Dave. So we're getting there. I'm going to switch to my scraper. And raise the tool rest just a bit. Boy, that really just peeled off really nicely in there. That drawn burr, wow, that's still there too. So the drawn burr instead of a ground burr tends to last longer because it's a thicker piece of metal, I think, would be my guess. Alright, so I'm almost to the crook there. I can go deeper yet if I want. And I want. Yeah. There's some really nice shavings just peeling out of there. It's really smooth on the inside too. Alright, so we'll say that that's it right there. You know, I think I will take it down even more. How's that wall doing for me there? I think I could open that up just a little maybe. feeling something in there. I thought I was. Where'd it go? Ah, there it is. Oh! Alright, so I'm feeling the ridge in there from that, so it is... Okay. So it's a suture where part of the tree came together. That's very, very interesting. Okay, how deep am I? I am that deep. Alright, I think I'll go just a little bit more. Also so I can take the nub off that dude. Also just do a quick cleanup cut. Not that it really needed it, but lighter touch with the burr will surely leave a better surface, and boy did it ever. Man, that is so smooth in there. Very, very cool. Alright. Take this out of the chuck because I'm done with that bit, but I just left a beautiful surface on the inside. Man, I shall remember drawing the burr on this guy instead of grinding it. Man, that's smooth. All right, cool. Change the chuck out. To my pin jaws. And the key, there it is. So I'm going to set the box on this second step and expand into that. These wings here won't be in the way because they'll be inside the box. This will be a better seat for that rim. So that the piece will now again run true, even though that is beveled. We'll finish this guy off. So you don't need the box scrape. Well, yeah, I might, but I don't need it right now, so I can just move it out of the way. Don't need this guy. I do need this guy. How am I doing there? Am I in a good spot? No, let's raise this up. Adjust my tool rest based on, you know, basically the diameter of the piece. If I got too big of a diameter, I'm not using a skew. Although, as a shear scraper now, I might. That's interesting. Whoops. Okay, she does not want to be cut that direction. But I'm also, I think what I will do is bring up tailstock, just because this is wild grain. awesome angel hair shavings there. How I present my skew when I'm using it is that I get my anchor, usually on my body somewhere too. I get my anchor set my bevel to about 45 degrees. I want to be able to adjust that. That's why the tool hits me on my hip right here. I can kind of just swing my hip one way or the other, because it's not every timber wants to be cut at exactly 45 degrees. You might have to make a little adjustment. But when I start, I'm starting to rub that bottom bevel there on the wood, and then slowly bringing the handle up until the cutting edge meets the timber, and that's where my cut is. So I have my anchor, my bevel set. Once my cut gets into the right position, I'm ready to go. Hopefully that helps demystify some of the skew stuff that you may be experiencing, but the only pressure, my whole body is moving the skew. My hand is locked right to my side, the tool is locked right into my hip. I could do the whole thing. Well, actually, let's just do that. So that's just me in hip action taking a cut with a skew. This hand really is just to hold the skew, give a little weight to the skew to hold it down. The only time I'm ever using this hand to rotate the skew, the only time, is when I'm making a bead. Any other time, this hand is totally static. It's just drifting along. It's not pulling or doing anything. Every movement is coming from me right here at my hip. So again, I can let loose and still work with the skew. That's leaving me fantastic surface too. Wow, it's gorgeous. All right, let's see. I want to flatten the bottom a little bit. I am going to round that off, and I'll just go ahead and do it with the skew so you can see what I'm talking about when my hand is rotating. Really, the tool itself is rotating, but it's my whole hand, and I bring the tool up. I have a Thompson skew that's got a rounded at the heel side of the skew, which is the short point. It has a rounded surface, and I really like using this particular skew for rolling beads because of that. Now, I don't like oval skews. I don't really care for skews that have both ends set. I don't mind actually even just using a normal skew that's got a square edge to roll that bead. This just makes that one task for my skew a lot easier. Well, not a lot easier, a little easier, because it doesn't have corners I got to get over. Like this one does. I got to get over that corner, so I'm actually riding on that corner right at the start of the cut. And this stuff, this timber is a little bit tougher because the grain goes every which way, so actually I had a little bit of trouble rolling over that with the skew, but I'm cleaning it up with the spindle gouge. But in spring orientation, where the grain is running parallel to the lathe, and I need to drop this guy. It's very, very nice to roll beads with it, askew. So my end cut will be here, thumbs on top, uncomfortable position. Match the speed of the push with the speed of the raise of the handle. You see my hand is naturally wanting to come up. If I drop it back down, my thumb will have to drop down too. And I think that will give it just a, oh man, that might give it just a tiny bit of lift. Like completely off the table. It's slightly beveled down a little bit right on the bottom of that bead. So I am going to hollow out a little bit on the bottom. I need to get rid of where the point for this live center made an indentation. And this is all going to be light cuts as well. Rotate this guy. And I'm going to double check my chuck here because chucks do have, they will vibrate and open and close, so it's good to check it every once in a while, especially in expansion mode. Taking fairly light cuts, and again moving only as fast as the tool can cut. Now that's going to sit right on that. Oh nice, it is going to give it just an ever so slightly little bit of lift. I think I'll move that back this way though a little bit, so now it sits closer. Yes, there we go. It still gives it a little bit of lift. Nice. Let's grab this. Will that guy do it? He's not round, so it will have to be this guy. Oh man, that is really pretty. So I'm going to take this off to show you. And it put me in a better position to put my signature on it, but that's just gorgeous timber. So here we have from the high spot, that would be right there. That's the inside bottom, and this is up just a bit. I really could take more off, but I think that will be just lovely the way that it is. So that looks nice. I'm going to run some abrasive across this guy. Let's see, I think I want that right there. I don't know, man. Maybe I should try. I think I will try. Nah, I want to start practicing more on something that's not tapered like that. Let's see. So I have, that's 220, and then I will want 320. That's 600. Don't want that. But I do want to take the 320 this time. Just have it, oh, you know, it's got to be in the back. 150, 180, 320. There we go. What the heck, man? Drop down in here. There it is. So my sanding pad seemed to have fallen off. Good there. Oh yeah, I'll take this one to 320. Don't usually go over 220 on my turnings. I don't know, I just don't really think that. I mean, the sense of touch for human beings, it can be very sensitive, and it can be attuned to become more sensitive. But I think to a lot of people, 220 doesn't feel as fine as 320, but it's close. 320, 400 feel very similar, and after that, I don't know, maybe it might depend on the lumber for me someday, but usually 220, especially for most of the stuff that people are holding is very, very smooth. Even 220 sandpaper is sold as fine sandpaper. I'm not saying that sanding to 2000 or whatever, grit you want to sand through is a bad thing. I just not sure that I understand the benefit to it. Now with resin, I will sand to 2000 grit, wet sanding. Because I have a scratch remover system, it's a Novus scratch remover system. It's 2 different pastes and a cleaner that removes, well, it says removes deep scratches and fine scratches, but the deep scratches really are surface. They can be seen, but they're not really, super deep, like, I don't know, a 1/16 of an inch or whatever. What it does is it polishes very well the upper surface of the resin that you're working on. And as you keep working through the grits, you can get it to look like glass, especially wet sanding. But I do want the resin to be a better, well, I want the resin to be kind of glass as far as the smoothness of it. Oh man, alright, now I'm going to put the buffing balm on this dude and see what that looks like. I think it's going to be fantastic. But I think, especially with hand tools like 180, 150, they need to have a little tooth to them, a little bit of texture. Hand tools. I don't like having, I'm not particularly fond of this handle, and this is a handle I made. It was one of the first ones I made when I was working for Lyle Jameson and making handles for him. He sells them this way, and they're lacquered before they get sent out with a tool, bowl gouge or a spindle gouge set into them. Although he does sell the tools, but the handles by themselves as well. At least he used to. I don't like the super smooth surface of it. I like to have, the lacquers. I want to take those lacquers off because I like to have a little bit, like with this guy. This is a beech, and that is only sanded to 220, and there's no surface preparation other than sanding it to 220. I want to have a little bit of texture so I can, so it gets me a little bit better grip. I don't want it just slipping right through. And with those kind of finishes on tool handles, I think, I don't think it's, I don't agree with the practice, I guess I should say, of making your tool handles like that super smooth. Wooden handles, wooden handles. I don't think they need to be rough, but I don't think they need to be glass smooth. But that is also my aesthetic, my thing that doesn't apply to anybody else but me. Everybody will find their own particular finish that they like. But for me, and after using this buffing balm, although I did go to 320, I usually only go to 220, and I get an excellent finish just off of 220 with this buffing balm and the super fine grits of pumice and diatomaceous earth, or rotten stone as it is called. 320 will give it a little bit more pop, not a ton, and I'm not going to go to 400 because I don't really see a difference myself between 400 and 320 when it comes to appearance or when it comes to feel. I mean, I can feel the difference, but it's so slight. there's a bigger difference from 400 to 600 than there is from 320 to 400. And I think that is easier to feel. Not that you should skip grits when you're sanding. I don't have every single grit on the planet. I'm sure there's more grits than what I have, but I have grits from 80, 100, 120, 150, 180, 220, 320, 400, 600, some 800 that I rarely use, usually only for resin, and then some wet or dry 1000, 15, and 2000, 1500 and 2000 grit wet or dry sandpaper for resin when I'm wet sanding. But those I buy by the sheet because I don't use it very much. I primarily go through 220 sandpaper when I buy it. Oh, wow. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That's awesome. I go through a lot more 220 than any other grit because that's usually what I sand everything to. Wow, man, that is gorgeous. Holy smokes, that's pretty. Golly. And the chatoyance on it is amazing. Alright, so there is the box. I want to finish off. Oopsie daisy. That was not the side the key fell on. Okay, good. Let's finish this guy off by hand. Just the rim of it. The inside of this box, I'm pretty sure I'm going to finish with Mahoney's walnut oil. I really like using that oil for inside finishes on boxes and stuff like that. On kitchen utensils or cooking, whatever might be used in and out of the home, I guess I could say. Usually for food prep. Because it's completely food safe right out of the jar. Or bottle, or squirt bottle, or whatever. Well, I just can't get over that birch flame is amazing. All right, let's get the lid going now. Coffee steam by. Oh, really? I'm not doing this the whole time all on my own, huh? Yeah, okay. Cool, that's all right. I'm still enjoying it. The whole idea is that this is an educational channel. I started turning as therapy for PTSD. I am in the list of disabled veterans. And I found out I had a knack for it, fell in love with it. It's still one of my therapies that I use a lot. It is amazing as therapy. I wanted this guy. Did I want this guy? Yeah, I wanted this guy. But I started this channel to become a better demonstrator, a better teacher, a better turner myself. That's why it's live and interactive. I like to talk to people. I don't know everything there is to know about wood turning, but I do know that I want to be the best wood turner I can be. So I talk to people about their processes and about how they come up with the ideas that they come up with. I mean, everybody has different ways to it. Everybody's got a little bit different approach to things. I can't say that one way is better than another. It may be better for that particular person than another. But everyone needs to, when they're working working on the lathe, they need to learn the basics of the tools and then learn how the tools can work with their own body mechanics. So learning how to turn is also a personal journey. That's too high, but is that running true? Ah, almost. So don't feel bad about gripping this top by the sides, because I do have to trim it down in the first place to fit inside the box on that shelf. But what I need to be able to do is get this in the chuck running true so that I can create a hold on the inside for a chuck so I can expand and then cut it down to size. Is that running true? It is very close. There it is, now it's running true. So I need to use my box scraper, homemade box scraper, to cut in here. Actually, I'll probably use my parting tool to cut in. I do need to, I can't take it in very far. I do need to leave meat for the tenon to be able to, or the hole to accept the tenon can be drilled, and I don't go all the way through the lid. I do need to drop this guy though. That's probably okay. Another cool thing about a spindle gouge, if you need to take off material on the surface of something, it's the same thing as going around a corner. At least the setup and the execution, you're not actually going to go around a corner, but I want to get my finish cut, where my cut is going to end. So it's going to be right there. Got my thumb on top. I'll come up here, start up high, but I'll start up high somewhere inside there. And then I just raise the tool handle and push this way with my left hand. And that gives me a little concave surface to work with. That is beneficial because now I don't have to worry about contacting a flat surface across the whole of my box scraper. I can just work my way now to the side, however much I want to cut off at once with the box scraper I'm in more control of. Don't need a huge lip here. Just enough to grab onto. Just enough to grab onto with the chuck jaws in expansion mode. And on this, it's basically about the 1/16 of an inch I need to get into that first rib on these guys. Still running true, so I can go a little bit further in. Let's take a look at this box again. It looks like that's close to the diameter. Yeah, that'll be right. Making sure I'm not too far out on the edge of this. So once again, I've got to start high, cut down. I can also get a flat surface doing that same thing as long as I match the push speed with the lift speed. I can get a flat surface. If I vary that, I can get a concave surface or a convex. The spindle gouge is a very lovely tool. that should be good enough for me to get an expansion hold on this guy. Should be. We're about to find out. And then I can size the outer portion of the lid so that it fits inside the box. How am I doing on time? Oh, it's after 11 already. All right, well, we'll speed this up a little bit. I'll make sure I can grab that. I think that'll go down small enough. If not, I'll grab the pin jaws. So this is going to be a little bit longer broadcast today. Alright, let's see. Pin jaws. Here you are. So I'll finish this lid, get it fit, sanded but not polished, because I need to set my handle on there first. And then I can polish the lid. So I will most likely finish this guy, the whole box, off camera, and then show it next week. So I got a lot of meat here, about 3/8 of an inch that I'm pushing out against on the side. So this expansion joint or expansion hold should be pretty solid. And not split this piece. Let's see, I think I will do it this way. So I'm going to use, well, I'm not sure what I'm going to use yet. I think spindle gouge. Needs to come down a little bit there. Sometimes it's easier to push than pull. I wish it wouldn't do that. Always freaks me out when it does that. Alright, so that's still not going to fit in there yet, so we'll cut down some more. There, that way won't come out. Still a little large. Oh, almost there. Let's take it off and check it on the other side. Oh, it's very, very close. So I don't want a friction fit or a super tight fit on this. Just kind of snug. Okay. just a little bit more. All right. That is awesome. Trying to make sure I get it in the same spot on the chuck jaws. Kind of feel the detente where they've made an impression on the inside. I wonder, no, it's just a little too tight. And I want to round this off a little bit more. Whoops. Not clearing the tool rest there, Dave. Not in the right spot. Just move it. It needs to be running true. So keep rotating it into the successive detentes until it's running true again. Nope, not quite. So I'll go one more. There we are. Okay, I want to run a little bit of abrasive if I can find any. Right there. On this edge on the bottom. And let's test fit it. There we are. That's the fit I want. That'll work. Okay. So now I need to sand this guy, and we'll call this the end of the broadcast. Okay, not sure that this is going to run true, but it is. Okay, cool. Alright, so I need again 220 to 320. Where did I put them? That's 180, that is 150. There they are. That's the 220 right there. Slow the lathe down. Does that look pretty good? All right, we'll go to 320 now. Oh, and hey, while I'm at it, I need to drill the hole for the tenon. So if you notice, I have not, there's a little band right here that I have not sanded, and I don't want to sand that. That is the diameter that I want to fit into the box. So I'm leaving that little bit alone. There we go. Oh, a little bit more on this upper part here. Most of that's going to be hidden, but because it'll be under the base of the handle. Okay, last bit. We'll grab the Jacob's chuck, we'll drill for the tenon, and then we'll wrap up the broadcast. If you're still here, I really appreciate you sticking it out with me. Let's see, Jacob's chuck, that dude, and I want this dude. Okay, let's see about measuring. There we are. Well, I'll measure it that way. So that looks like about 1/4 of an inch, just shy. Just shy of 1/4 of an inch. So I'm going to go in 3/16 for my tenon depth. And that will give me most of the thickness of the lid for the tenon to sit in. And then the slightly undercut surface here, slightly concave, and a slightly concave surface underneath the base of the handle will allow everything to line up where it all sits on the outer rim, and there's a tiny little cavity in there for the glue to pull things together. Okay, let's see. Let's go to that. Okay, I'll measure that guy really quick with calipers that I have around here somewhere. Whoops, that's a flashlight. Need that later. Oh, okay. Flashy light thingy. calipers right here. I bet you they've fallen off. I'm not going to find them. So I will grab another pair, another set. Down here. Hiding away in this room. Be right back. Okay, I want to see 3/16. I'm just a little shy of that. Nope, it's right on. Okay, cool. So that is my hole now for the tenon. I can put these dudes away. Grab one more tool. So I picked up a set of gouges from Hand Carver's Symposium. I bought a skew, a U gouge, which is U-shaped, and then a V gouge. And this U gouge is really handy for taking off the little tiny tenon that gets left behind when I use that router bit to make this hole. There's just a tiny little tenon right in there, or nipple, whatever, little raised spot right in the center. And this U gouge, little hand gouge, lets me take that right off and flatten the bottom so that the tenon can sit all the way down, and the tenon from the handle can sit all the way down inside the hole. So also very handy to have these tools. And they were not super spendy, man. They were fairly inexpensive. Alrighty, so it's not going to have the same shine and pop as this yet, but let's put it together. I think that's it right there. Yes it is. Oh man, that's a perfect fit. Let me rotate it a little to right there. So the lid sits just a little bit proud of that front lip and is below the lip in the back. All this grain will pop just like this does once it's buffed with the buffing balm, but I cannot do that until I have my handle made, which will be made from this Coca-Cola material. So next time you see this box, which will be next week, you'll see it completed with the handle attached to the box. I can't wait to get this done. It's going to be such a pretty little box. Very cool. So we are at, wow, 40 minutes over what I usually go for, although I would say it's not totally unusual. Thanks for sticking it out if you did. I had a really good time turning this stuff out, and and explaining my process and explaining how I use the tools. As I was saying before, I started this channel to help people like you become better turners, but also so that I can become a better presenter, a better teacher, and a better turner myself. I want to be the best turner I can be. I want to help you become the best turner you can be. So if you miss any of my previous broadcasts, please head on over to YouTube at Dave Reif. That's my YouTube channel. I have all of my broadcasts recorded and then exported over there. Please subscribe. You have access to all of the videos, previous videos that I have done. So having said that, this has been a great Wood Turning Wednesday. Thank you very much for joining me this evening. I hope you stay friendly. I hope you join me next week to at least take a look at this box when it's finished, but to hang out and have some chats. This is live and interactive. I do pay attention to chat, and I do answer what I catch there on chat. So any questions, any comments, anything like that, please feel free to jump in on chat. As long as everybody is respectful, then I have no issues answering questions. So I hope you all enjoy the rest of your week. I know I will. Yeah, tomorrow is a bee day too. So that's going to be great. I'll be out in the apiary tomorrow. That'll be fun. So, thanks again for joining me. I appreciate it. My name is Dave. I hope you enjoy the rest of your week, and I hope to see you next Tuesday and Wednesday right here on Twitch, 8 to 11 p.m. And I hope that you enjoyed yourself. I hope you learned a little bit. Hope you had some fun. I hope you liked the turned objects, in fact. And I hope to see you again. Thank you, and good night.